This content is for informational purposes only. You should not construe any such information or other material as legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. Nothing contained on here constitutes a solicitation, recommendation, endorsement, or offer by Draper Goren Holm or any third-party service provider to buy or sell any securities or other financial instruments whatsoever.
It's been a whole year. What? It's been 2 whole years on blockchain booze, on blockchain booze. We've had our ups and downs. We've shared a million drinks. David Rankin's logged 14,000 minutes. John and Joe from Lunar Crush have been on 1,000 times. I hope that Jim and Coop decide to keep their shirts on tonight on blockchain booze, on blockchain booze. Most of the guests were great, but Sailor Gary, pour one out for the ones who sucked. They can't all be good. We've had Mark Cuban, Bitcoin Zay, Gary V. Board, Becky, Bill Bard, Height, and what's his nose, the mayor of Miami. They were all good on blockchain booze, blockchain booze. 2 years ago, the crypto market was $2 trillion smaller. Remember when John from Cointelegraph drank his wine out of the bag? He slapped that bag live on blockchain booze. Tonight's gonna be a rad one. We've got a legendary crew. We've got Jason the Ape, Spottie WiFi, and we're doxing Mr. Suit. And like Spottie, I'm an all-time guy, living in an all-time high on blockchain booze. Let's fucking go.
Boom! We are live.
That was sick.
Messing around. Okay, I was messing around backstage with the crew, and I think I'm gonna turn off my Punk Ape Strong guy because he gets weird when there's multiple people talking at once. All right, but I got my striped shirt on. Cheers, guys! Welcome to Blockchain Booze. I made that because it's episode 104. That literally means we are 2 years in to every single Tuesday night, and this is going to be a really fun one. I'm stoked to be here. David Rankin, who was mentioned in the theme song, he's logged the most amount of minutes on Blockchain Booze. It's like 14,200 and something. I had to mention you at the beginning, David. Thanks for joining us. For those who are joining on one of the live streams, Blockchain Radio or Lunar Crush, hop into totally unprepared. Here we go. Hop into the meet.blockchainbooze.io if you want to hang backstage and talk with the community, ask questions, and I'll bring it up to the crew. But guys, welcome to Blockchain Booze. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. Glad to be here.
So I'm so stoked because one, we've got a great crew amongst us. As you guys know, we've been talking about, NFT IP probably ever since Jason, you came on many months ago, and you started telling me that my ape is not just an ape because it's an ape, but because we could do some epic shit with it. And we've been doing it, and now we've got so much going on. But Mr. Suit, Spottie WiFi, this is your first time on the show itself, on the screen. So welcome, Spottie. We're all big fans. We've talked about you before, and we've shared the video of Punk Ape Strong and Reaper and Jason doing their thing. But welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's my honor, man. I love what you guys are doing. I love the topic for tonight, and I don't get an excuse to pour myself a drink often enough, so I appreciate it.
So that sounds good, dude. Thanks for joining us. I know I shot you a note pretty last minute, so I was stoked you were able to join. So thank you. And Mr. Suit, I think we're going to be doxing you tonight. You made a big announcement for Midpoint this week. Full disclosure, I'm involved in Midpoint and all that. But Mr. Suit, how's it going? Welcome to Blockchain Booze.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, I'm excited. It's it's been crazy, but exciting. I'm happy that we finally got to announce, and excited to see everyone's excited about it. So, and it's a little scary. I'm going to be doxing myself tonight. So,
yeah,
finally.
I love it. When do you want to do that? Do you want to do it soon and turn off your filter, or you want to wait? We could talk a little bit about Midpoint and everything else.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do it now, just to get it out of the way.
All right, here we go. Mr. Suit unboxing himself. It's like I'm opening a pack of NFTs or something.
All right.
You need a little drum roll.
Here we go. Oh wait.
There you go. I'm thinking, guys.
Oh, he's wearing the suit. Oh,
and I had to wear the suit. Yeah.
Nice.
That was great. I'm proud. Welcome, Mr. Suit, to the show. Dude, I'm so stoked you actually wore a suit.
Yeah, I have a question, Mr. Suit. Did I meet?
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I'm getting confused, but did I meet you? But were you wearing a mask, like a MetaMask mask?
Yep.
On the
yeah, we met at Ape Fest.
Okay. Yeah. Because
You
I was like,
are
wait,
on
I was like, I
Twitter,
don't
you're
recognize
Mr.
you, but yeah,
MetaMask,
that's right. You were wearing the mask. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he actually made this really beautiful like MetaMask set. And when he came, the first time I ever met Mr. Suit was at the Deadheads event at the NYC conference. He tapped me on the shoulder. I turned around and there was a fox, like an adult man fox, standing there, and I was so taken back. He's like, "I'm Mr. Suit." I'm like, "Oh my god!" Oh, it's so funny.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I got some pictures of you wearing that mask with the LED screen thing from New York. I remember you're like, Punk Ape Strong's here, and I got some pictures. It made me even more jealous. Man, welcome. Spottie, I want to start with you because you haven't been on the show, and you are an epic example of someone taking their IP, right? Grabbing your punk, and I know you've got Goldrilla, your ape, and utilizing them as a character. I know you put together, objectively great music regardless of the punk and ape IP, but I love that you're using it, man. I'm stoked. What kind of made you start doing it?
Man, thank you for that. It started really just because I saw the power of these symbols, to is kind of cheapening these NFTs to call them symbols, but I just saw people like my good friend Crypto Novo or my friend G Money. I saw them about a year ago, and I thought it was just really interesting that they were building an audience anonymously or pseudonymously, and as an artist, you always have that impulse or that desire to figure out how you're going to captivate an audience, how you're going to find somebody to listen to your music, how you're going to get somebody to appreciate your art. And this just felt like a way to have a built-in audience. It's the same reason Adidas would be interested in apes, the same reason Arizona Iced Tea would be interested in NFTs. For an artist, it's similar. It's like I can tap into a passionate audience that is going to, their ears are going to perk up when they hear that a CryptoPunk is now a rapper, and that was really it. And also at that time, when I put out my first song, I'm Spottie, in April, I didn't know it was going to be a sustained thing. I didn't know necessarily like I'm going to make an album. I just knew that I had a chance. I used to say like I felt like this was a historic moment and I want to be in the footnotes. And I felt like I could distinguish my CryptoPunk from the other 10,000 by being the first to do this one thing, even if I just did the one song.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's such a cool thing, and I literally probably the same week that Jason was like, the IP, they give you the rights to the IP, and you know, I think Board Becky had your back. I don't know if it was that week or like a couple weeks later when we had her on the show and we were talking about the whole Fame Lady Squad drama and all that. But like something clicked in my head and I was like, okay, I get it. But I still was like, without, it's cool, right? Like if you just have an ape, you just have a punk, it's a cool thing to utilize in a flyer or in a poster or in a piece of art, right? But like having the character around it, I think levels it up, right? Like I'm on one of the threads where you announced Midpoint, Mr. Suit. I threw, you know, I was saying something to people. I was like, you know, there's all sorts of ways it can be used, but like get busy, create some characters, like not just the picture, but like create some background to it. Like do what Jenkins is doing. Reaper is really good about that on the Boring Stone team. He signs up to like every kind of opportunity to give his characters a story. He signs up and does it. And I think it makes your ape, one, like worst case scenario, we just have a shit ton more fun than the average collector of NFTs. But best case scenario, you can create something really fun and really cool. I keep mentioning Midpoint. Maybe Mr. Suit just give everyone like you know, congratulations again on announcing it this week and getting the sign up page up and getting the site up. But give everyone a little like 30-second background so I don't keep mentioning it as if everyone knows.
Yeah, so basically, Spottie's a perfect example of someone who utilizes the IP of NFTs and really takes advantage of what it means and what they have to offer. Like building a brand out of your NFT is kind of something that's really unique and cool. And
like this guy right here.
Exactly. So why can't all NFT owners do that? But how do they do that, right? Like, you have a punk, you have an ape, but how do you really get out there and like easily make it known to companies, brands, artists, musicians, local stores? Like, how do you tell them that you're interested in licensing your NFT? So that's kind of why we developed Midpoint, was to let people share that they're interested in licensing, but then also connect those people who want to license to bring in people from Web 2 who aren't familiar with buying an NFT, who don't know how to buy cryptocurrency, add it to MetaMask, go through the process, and also paying $200,000, $300,000 for an ape is kind of a large investment. So we thought it would be better to give people an opportunity to take advantage of the IP of the NFT by allowing them to license it in a really easy to use platform.
That's awesome. I mean, we talked about it, right? And obviously I said I'm involved in stuff, but like the idea of, we did, Jason and I and Reaper, we did Boring Stone together, right? And I mentioned Reaper being really good at doing the stories. A big part of that is his full body apes, right? Like this is one of Reaper's apes. He made like a whole motorcycle club around his guy. He made, me different poses of Punk Ape Strong, but he also, made the version for the mutant, like all this stuff made those Boring Stone pages come to life, right? We've got Board Becky that he made. And of course I showed Jason the Ape. He made Mike Shinoda's, right? Board Shinoda, holding the NPC, but like taking it to that whole new level of then going like, well, other than the fun stuff that we do, or maybe us as like, nerds doing Boring Stone together and doing that kind of thing, when does the mainstream take it, right? Jason, I know you've talked to a ton of mainstream brands who are interested or potentially even doing it, right? Like
what you guys are creating makes a lot of sense, because people that have a little bit of audience might have a different opportunity, but people that don't have an audience that still have that asset still deserve that same opportunity. And you're creating a platform that's kind of engineering that for people. So I definitely love what you guys are doing, because like for myself, guys, I can announce this alpha as like Jason the Ape has been licensed out to G Fuel, right? So
Oh, you threw that out. I wasn't sure if you were going to throw that out. And I see some people in the chat were already like that G Fuel shirt. Like,
yeah,
so.
man. No, and it's kind of cool. We took my ape, Jason the Ape. We're gonna make an NFT collection of it, and then for anyone that buys that NFT, they're gonna get a Jason the Ape shaker set. I'm gonna imagine something very much like this kind of thing, but with Jason the Ape on it. You know what I mean? And so that's gonna be a really cool opportunity. But that's something that like I've been building my brand and my IP since May 1st, day one. You know, putting all these shows together, like. Not everybody still has done that, but they still deserve an opportunity to connect with any brand that wants to work with them. So, Mr. Suit, what you guys are creating is very exciting, and I'll definitely have to throw my ape on there. So there's more opportunity for Jason the Ape to grow, right? And I think it just makes sense that you guys are doing something so cool like that.
Awesome, thank you. I appreciate it, Jason.
Yeah, I mean, we probably shouldn't shill it the whole time. What I'll just say is if you have an ape or a punk or a fame lady or a world of women, you can go and like sign up. So you indicate interest, basically. It's not like actually giving your ape to anyone. Would never take an NFT out of somebody's wallet. It's just you sign a transaction to prove you own it. And then you put your email address so that if somebody makes an offer to license your NFT, it'll be passed along once very soon. So it's pretty slick. I see John in the chat. I just want to, John, you got a shout out in the theme song, bro. But just by the way, it was so funny. I just want to throw this out there because we've been doing 2 years of blockchain booths. There's one particular episode where the guy who at the time was like, he's still with them, I think, but John from Cointelegraph, he was like their main editor for Cointelegraph, came on, pulled the bag of wine out of the wine box and was like drinking it directly from the bag. He was like slapping it and he was out of his mind, but like in like the smiliest good way, like having the greatest time of his life. And so many people today, when I threw out there like, hey, last minute actually writing this song with for Punk Ape Strong, like I got DMs and then publicly like multiple people were like, that was the one moment you've got to mention in the song. It was so good because I think everyone came in thinking it was going to be a really serious discussion.
Man, some of the times I've been on your show, I've gotten a little too sloshed. You know, when the first time I was on, I was drinking whiskey neat. I had to switch to Corona for pacing because I didn't realize how long the hour goes sometimes when you're listening and you're just like.
It was it's pretty funny. I've you know there's been lots of moments. It's pretty great. I think one of the times I think I told somebody I purposely don't drink very much, and a lot of times you guys see me holding that one kind of beer can of that German beer, but it's like half juice, half beer, so it's like 2%. So like that's on purpose because one time I had one of those like politicians on, like that congressman or something, and I was just so glazed over to what he was saying. And I don't know if that's something to brag about or if I just whatever, but it was pretty damn funny. But yeah, you guys, people in the chat, you do need to grab a beer. This is the hangout session. So this came about because of quarantine. We wanted to start hanging with friends because we've been locked down for a couple of weeks. So now we're 2 years of that. But let's go back to the discussion, right? You know, I think that so many people who don't yet have NFTs or don't have aren't bought in quite yet. Like they need that moment of it clicking or something. And I think people are getting it more and more with the collectible side of an NFT. Like they go, oh, baseball cards, but digital. Okay, I get it. Or comic books, whatever. But I think a lot of our friends still don't take the IP side of it seriously. It might just be me because, you know, I think that for the longest time, it was the thing that apes say. It reminded me of, and maybe I'm jaded because I've been in the crypto space now for a few years. And I know, Jason, you were there with me in those early days, and people would like people part of some certain community, I don't know, like the Chainlink community or the EOS community or something, would have that like one of those like one-liners they would say as to why their token was going to pump. And it felt to me at the beginning like, oh, this is what apes say. Like, we own the IP. Like, that's why it's special. And I was just like, I don't know. But I'm obviously like totally down the rabbit hole now.
Can I actually share a quick story about Spottie? The first time I saw Spottie perform in Decentraland with Gold Trilla, which is his ape duo partner with Spottie performing, I was blown away by a new reality of what watching a performance was, right? I spent
I
probably
remember you telling me.
bro, it was surreal. And I had him on the blockchain breakdown, Boring Stone breakdown right after to ask him, what was it like to perform in the metaverse as a metaverse performer? And that is such a weird new reality. You know what I mean? Like, we're redefining celebrity through growing IP. It's a fantastic new world.
Dude, I think you're totally right. Spottie, like putting together something like that, and where I was going with my question is like, how do you explain it to people even in the NFT space, but especially people outside of it? And then I'm gonna double down on that metaverse thing, because I remember Jason telling me about that, and I was like, yeah, it's so much fun, whatever. But then I went to the what was it, like Chibi Labs or who did that New Year's Eve or New Year's Day party? My kids were slapping my hand away from my keyboard because I can't control Decentraland as well as them. And it was legit. It felt real. Like, it didn't feel like I'm just, doing something on the internet. So,
man, it's so much fun, really. But because like in a metaverse performance, there's no physics, there's no gravity. Anything you could come up with, you could do, and you can bring to life. I mean, I have Goldrilla, my cheetah ape hype man. He has a saxophone solo, when I do my metaverse shows. So it's a lot of fun, man. And in terms of explaining it, I think the first thing that comes to mind is I usually cite the gorillas. I usually will mention, like, I was inspired by the gorillas, sort of this idea of like being an animated rapper. But I don't think I find myself explaining it to non-NFT people that much. Partly because for the last 2 years, when I leave the house, it's been to go to like NFT NYC or Art Basel or things like that. Like, I probably haven't even seen that many non-NFT people, in close quarters, face to face, too much. But even philosophically, like, I saw Gary Vee talk at NFT NYC, and he was saying like he just doesn't spend a lot of time trying to convince people of shit, like, and I'm on that wavelength now too, where like I used to really spend a lot of energy, even before NFTs, like trying to convince my friends, like, no, Bitcoin is this, or crypto is the future, or whatever. And I realized, I don't know, Gary said that comes from a place of insecurity. And I think that may be true to some extent, but really, I just feel like the best way to explain it is just to fucking sprint ahead and get wins, get W's, and then let them see the news story about it, and then start doing their own research. Because you can't really convince people, very efficiently. All you can really do is inspire them to do their own research. You know what I mean? And I think the best way to do that is just to do what we all know, just to pursue what we know is the future, and let them develop their own curiosity.
100%. And you kind of just show people, right? Like, you listen to, one of your songs, you see one of your videos, you end up on Twitter and you see some weird ass puppets singing along to your video, you collect it, you do the stuff, and you're into it or you're not. And I don't think it's something you could really convince people of. I kind of stopped doing that a long time ago. And like, every once in a while somebody will be like, I have to talk to my friends about it, because I'll get one of those weird texts where they're like, Bitcoin Cash, I heard it's faster. And you're like, no, dude, no. And then you have to have the conversation, or some parent at the school will corner me or something and say something about Bitcoin either being awesome or being bad or whatever. And then you start talking to them. But like, I don't really do the convincing, but it is one of those things though, where when you are talking about it, and maybe from the position that I'm in too, like my day job, I'm constantly talking to people and pitching our fund or doing whatever we're doing, somebody will be like, well, why are those apes worth so much? Are they going to dump? Is this going to happen? Is what ape coin and this and that? And I'm not a trader, so it's so I don't even speculate on that stuff. I just look at the teams and I look at the people and I go like, do I want to hang with these group of people for the next 10 years? And I'm going to give John from Lunar Crush, who I mentioned earlier, like crazy credit. I told you this, Jason, earlier. Like a month or 2 or 3 ago, John said to me, bored apes are Facebook's biggest threat. Or like he called them a Facebook killer or something like that. And I was like, what? No, come on. Like they're awesome, but I wouldn't go that far. But look at what's changed in the last month. Look what changed the last 2 months. It's not at all just some NFT collections, not at all just the IP of the apes. It's, it's going to be the most popular metaverse that's out there. It is the most engaged and intense community I have ever seen. So they actually, there's so much truth to what he said, and it's absolutely bonkers. I
will say this though, one way I like to show people is I'll just pull up the video, the performance that you're talking about on my phone, or like some of my animated music videos.
Yeah.
And people like from all types of backgrounds, ages, ethnicities, like you'll be surprised at the joy that it brings people, just these characters on stage together. It's really funny. Like, I mean, it's pretty crazy. Like I've shown it to like I was at Snoop's studio, recording songs from his Death Row mixtape. And I'm showing guys in the studio, like, yeah, this is me performing in Decentraland with Goldrilla and DJ Mad Skills. And guys are like, oh, that's hard. You know what I mean? And it's like, damn, that's crazy. And for anybody that wants to check that out, just look me up on YouTube. You'll find it. But, visuals.
You gotta.
Can I ask you a question, Spottie? Because I know you show that off. I would with pride, but like when you showed it to someone, like maybe like your mom or your parent, like how did they react to that kind of thing? Because my mom just calls it my monkey picture all the time. So that would be something really fun to share with someone you love.
My parents, they're supportive. They definitely don't understand it 100%, which is easy to that I don't expect them to right out the gate. I do have family members that send me I have family members that send me Facebook messages where it's like, I can't even remember some of the article titles, but I definitely get some like, people throwing shade with the articles they're sending me, like, oh, they're warning me on some shit. It's like, all right, yeah, just keep warning me, let me know what to look out for. I'll be looking forward to your warnings, for the next few years. And meanwhile, I'm just diamond handing, bro. You can keep warning me. It's all good.
It's so funny, like the angle people trying to protect you kind of thing is pretty hilarious sometimes. But dude, Spottie, you can't just drop Snoop and then just kind of let it go. So we gotta ask you what's going on with Snoop. What's this Death Row mixtape you're talking about?
Yeah, so I became friends with Snoop's son Cordell, who is basically his advisor on all things metaverse, all things Web3. And he bought one of my NFTs, which was really cool. And he DM'd me like, hey, would love to chat. I thought it was like a Snoop Dogg fan account at first, because on his picture he had Snoop's ape as his avatar, and I recognized the name Brodus because I know that's Snoop's real last name. But I just thought it was like I didn't realize it was his son. And then, one thing led to another, and flew out there the week before the Super Bowl. We did a few songs together, and then Snoop, they started minting a mixtape a couple weeks later. I have 3 songs on that one. Their first mixtape. Well, also people might not realize Snoop owns Death Row Records now. So yeah. Snoop acquired Death Row Records from I don't know if it was, I forget the name of the company, but some huge investment firm that owned it. And he put out an album, a solo album called Back on Death Row. He partnered with Gala Games, and they basically did a modified version of like my model of what I did, where they basically do a blind mint and you're minting the songs and you don't know which song you're going to get. They sold $44 million worth of his NFT songs in 1 week. Now, what artist in the world, I don't care how hot you are, like what artist in the world has made $44 million off of an album, let alone in the first week recently?
Well, and if they did, 90% of the money went through the label, through the agencies, through the agents, through all the different filters, and then they get a bill for how much the marketing costs, and that gets reduced from their cut and everything else, and then they're stoked to make a few million, right? And that's the best, most successful artist in the world.
100%. And this is what I was saying back in August when I sold my album. I said, if I could do this with, at that time, I had 5,500 followers. I had fewer than 10,000 streams on Spotify. I said, what happens when an artist with a large platform steps into the arena? And now we know. So following that up, then they put out a mixtape. They minted it on the OpenSea shared contract. And now, after ApeCoin was released, they put out a new mixtape, which you could only buy with ApeCoin. I have a song on that mixtape, and it's a dope record. I hope people will check it out. It's called My Ape. You can find it on OpenSea if you search Death Row NFT. And yeah, I'm hoping it becomes a little bit of an anthem for the apes, going into this year. But I'm not gonna lie to you, I got some more bangers for the apes. In the barrel and coming very, very soon. I'm actually mixing and mastering a new song this week that I'm gonna put out in the next week or two, and it's something special for the apes for sure.
That's awesome. So I'm gonna throw out there also that all three of you guys were behind the scenes putting together a lot of stuff for LA Blockchain Summit. So I know the other guys know, but Spottie, if you don't know this, I'm one of the organizers of LA Blockchain Summit, and pre-COVID and all that, it was one of the biggest conferences in the world for the space. It's about 7 or 8 years old now, and we're going back to real life this October, and we doubled the amount of space we took at the LA Convention Center, and that was last time we did it. There was 5,000 people there and stuff. So it's gonna be really, really wild, and I'm gonna put together some weird shit, like just for the NFT community. Like we talked about, I kind of teased some of this publicly, but we talked about like getting like some legendary clubs like the Roxy or something like that to do some special nights, like just private token gated, but in real life stuff. But yeah, it's going to be in October. I'm just telling people in the chat. It'll be at lablockchainsummit.com. We got some updates coming to the site. But what I think is really cool is I'm working with a bunch of my old punk friends. I was in punk bands growing up, and I had my own little record label. And we might put out a Punk Ape Strong actual vinyl record to give to everyone at the conference. But there might be some secret ways where if you actually play the record, you'll get some kind of code and you'll be able to mint something and do some cool shit. Just super fun stuff. And it's probably all going to be under the Boring Stone umbrella. So just keep an eye on that, everyone. But Spottie, I'll give you details. We got to get you there and do some fun, crazy shit.
Hey, please keep me in the loop. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it'll be crazy. I just know what we're planning behind the scenes, but I bet you that when we start talking to the rest of the NFT community, all sorts of much more interesting and crazy ideas will come from the amplification of it all. So I mean, Mr. Suit, you have been in the space for a little while too, because I know you're Mr. MetaMask on Twitter. I know you contributed to some early Ethereum stuff that I had contributed to and stuff. What got you excited? Because I don't remember if you minted them, but very early on you got a few apes and you've been a part of that community. What convinced you? Because I think there's something different about the ape community too, at least it was for me, that felt like it wasn't just the same crypto, nerd friends of mine that participated. It was the first time I saw some more, new blood came into the space, right? So what convinced you to get some apes?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I have a fun story about it. So I've been like, I guess, in crypto since 2017, so not too long, but I'd always thought, like, I bought a crypto kitty, wish I got some crypto punks, didn't. But and then I just followed the space, crypto winter happened between 2017 and like next few years. And then like NFTs started really taking off. And I always thought they were kind of stupid, to be honest. And I followed Maddie on Twitter, which is DCL blogger, and he always made good points about NFTs, collectibles, digital land, and he tweeted about Beeple's open editions, and I saw it and I was like, oh, this is really cool. There's like a physical with a digital piece, like something you could actually see. And I was like kind of mulling it over in my head, and finally I was like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna get one. I got one, and I was like super excited, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get one more. And then I just went down the rabbit hole of like going into credit card debt, buying a whole bunch of NFTs on Nifty Gateway. Not really, but like racking up those bills, way more than I ever thought I would. And so that kind of led me to the apes. Actually, punk first. That was kind of like the blue chip at the time. I ended up buying one, and then I didn't feel like there was that much of a community there. I bought one, but it kind of felt like nothing had changed. Like I meet another punk, it's just like, whatever. And then I saw the apes on Twitter, and I minted mine at 4, and then still have all 4, much to the dismay of my family. Very unhappy about it, but holding strong.
Hey, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, but the thing is, if you would have asked somebody in advance, right, should I do this? Most would say you're fucking insane for doing it in the first place. Now you're fucking insane for holding it. So, we all are a little off to be here and be early in this space to begin with. And it's paying off. And it goes along the lines of what I would tell people for the longest time in the crypto space too, because people would be like, is it going to pump? Is it going to do this? Should I do that? And I'm like, if you're long-term and you believe in it, just participate and hang out and it will reward you. Just like apes are doing with us today, but the whole community, like you get drops based on other things you've done. But like the way I looked at it with sorry, BB Studios in the chat, I got distracted. My ADD, he posted that he purchased rugstain.eth. Anyway, the thing that I would always tell people in the crypto space pre-NFTs is participate, learn. You're going to be in the top percentile of people who understand this shit, even at a surface level, and you're going to be first in line for a job in the future if that's what you're into, if that's what you want. Now, today with NFTs, we can do the same thing with artists and stuff. Like it's not just musicians, but like even the smaller communities that have grown, like the Tezos community, there's artists around the world who are actually making money selling their art on the internet that couldn't make a penny selling their art in real life before. And if they did, it would have to be through a gallery. It would have to be through those, gated kind of elitist environments where only a certain percentage could get through and you had to play their games, right? Play their politics. So it's such a game changer in that sense. But, so going into it though, I know that all three of you guys are early NFT guys and crazy into it, but see now BB Studios is saying he's selling it on OpenSea, so go check it out for those watching. Hey, by the way, people in the chat, I know there's a ton of you throwing random questions. I can't follow through in the chat that easily. It's just distracting, so I try not to look at it because I do this. But throw it into the QA because in a couple minutes I'll go into the Q&A and I'll grab questions from there. I'll just throw this up really quick. It was LA Blockchain Summit, Nina. And anyway, so we're all early, we're all nerdy NFT people, but we're also insane and holding on because we believe in this long-term value. We're not selling it or pumping it and dumping it and selling it out. I think we've all, at this point, Mr. Suit, you just launched a company, but I know, Jason, you've done all sorts of other projects. Spottie, you just told us about a bunch of cool things you're doing, the mixtapes, and I know that you've done your collections where most of us, I think, are, if not all of us, are collectors of it. And you know, we've all found a way to take that, like the fun part of our NFT, the collection, and kind of turn it into, if not a job, it's hard to say a job because like I was playing my guitar between meetings and playing with a cartoon, you know, ape, right? That's not really a job. That was fun for me. But you know, we've now taken this IP, because that's what the topic is. We've turned it into something more. We've turned it into characters, and we've built on top of it. And I think that over time, we have the ability to, if we haven't already, create more value than if we would have just sold our apes, right? You know, I guess I'll start with Jason, but like for you, was it a conscious decision to do that financially, or did you just do it because it was a fun thing at first, or a combo of both? Because I know you did the boring show really, really early, and you know, put your ape out there, and you know.
Yeah, no. For me, man, it was I was a content creator already, so I just found it like a new fun way to create content and to simultaneously reach out to the community. So, like you said, I started a cartoon show called The Boring Show, which was a really fun interview of a bunch of awesome apes. And I sat down and watched them the other day. Jenkins the valet was my first guest, and it was like watching a time machine. Like, we talked about stuff that he was going to do before he ever did it. You know, Board Becky was one of the 20 guests. She talked about her love for Fame Ladies Squad before they ever took over the Fame Ladies Squad. You know, so it was almost like a premonition of reality. I just did that for the fun of it, to be honest with you. Not for the money. No, like I paid $250 for my ape. So it wasn't really ever about money. It was like having fun and connecting. And I saw other people with striped shirts with my ape. So I reached out to them. And the next thing you know, they're on my show, exactly like yours. And someone says, oh, you know, that person's super famous in real life. And I'm like, no, I have no idea who they are. And it ended up being Tom Sachs or someone like that, you know, and it didn't matter, because all that mattered is we were having fun playing around, right? And all of us being in the crypto space, we're stressed a lot. We don't get time to play, and play is super important. So I saw it as my opportunity to just play with a bunch of silly, smart people. And I never in a million years would have guessed that I'd now be able to have like a NFT project based off my NFT. Another one coming out soon, a drink. Like I'm going to have a Jason the banana flavor or something like that. It's so crazy.
Oh yeah, by the way, throwing it out there, one of the things that came, and we met one of the crew here. Everybody knows Sailor Gary with his premium cocktails is another great example of the IP. Oh, both of you have them. If you look at the back of that Mr. suit, you see the ape and the story. There's Sailor Gary, the master distiller of vodka. But what's fun about it all, I think too, is that like, in everybody's right, you're professional. Like Mr. Suit, you're an engineer in real life. Spottie, you're a killer, you know, musician and rapper and artist. Jason, you're a content creator, marketer, all of the shit, and great at what you do. You know, I have a day job. I invest in startups, right? But we all kind of took what we're doing. You know, even Sailor Gary, right? These are a couple of scientists who have like an award-winning vodka distillery, and we just go like, how are we going to turn this IP we own into something fun, and not just fun, but real businesses and real life, real life business, right? Like I had a call. I had a call with an investor in our fund, and he's like, what's the latest trend in this and that, whatever. And I'm just like, IP rights and ownership of these apes and what's going to happen with them and stuff. And like one day I'm literally discussing like regulated securities offerings and how you can use the blockchain to like enable digital securities and security tokens. And then the next moment I'm like, you see these cartoons? It's fucking awesome, bro. And it's like, it's so funny because like this is like, Jason, I always say this to him, like, this is real life. Like this is our real life.
And oftentimes the way that I'll explain it to people who may not understand it is like, I'll say, imagine owning Tony the Tiger and being able to do whatever you want with it. That's what this is. That's all that it is. in that sense. Is like we own this mascot who can become larger than us. He can be in existence longer than I will live, right? Like I could literally pass my ape on to a future generation and allow someone else to take over that character, and no one would be the wiser. That's what this kind of IP right gives us.
It's cool. Like I think that Mr. Suit, you were like showing me some data, and we looked it up on one of our hang sessions, and it was like the IP licensing market was like a couple $100 billion a year in the United States, and it was like 44%, I think it was. Like don't quote me exactly, people watching, but I'm paraphrasing, but it's something like 44% of it is character licensing, and then like 15-20% is music, right? And now all of a sudden there's a way you can combine them all. Like I bought one of the Snoop NFTs that give me the rights to the beat to make a remix. That's assigning intellectual property rights, right? Like to me, that was the same as going to the store and getting the vinyl record of the track, right? You could get the instrumental track, but like imagine if the instrumental track came with a piece of paper saying you're allowed to publish, your versions of it. It's not just for a DJ, not just for partying and having some fun with your friends, but you can actually use this and license it. It's really, really epic. And it doesn't also, I guess I want to tell people, and then I want to jump into questions the last 10 minutes or so, but like I want to tell people who are watching, it's not just also cartoons, and it's not just also music. Like that's just us scratching the surface. Like it goes the same way with artists, right? Like artists who post pictures on like Getty Images and things like that are getting screwed by the middleman. These are actual photographers, artists, videographers who go and create content that then gets used by people and used to make money and do things. But there's like 10 middlemen in the middle that are taking a big chunk of it and doing what we were talking about with artists. This is just the first step in that sort of journey of shifting it like Bitcoin did, and what like Ethereum is doing now with crypto, right? Like the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of the world without a single gun being fired, right? We're just doing that. We're doing that now with for artists and for creators. It's mind-blowing and epic. So let me jump into the QA, and I feel like I'm talking too much. So guys, feel free to interrupt me too. I'm on a roll, I guess, tonight. I don't know. Okay, Mr. Suit. Let's see, Ape. We're trying to talk to you to understand. There's two questions here specifically for you, Mr. Suit. I guess they're just generally asking a little more about Midpoint. I guess they said, what's the mechanism you're using for staking your NFTs? Is it just for digital use? How do you go about regulating the off-chain use of IP? I've got a bit of, I had a cool call today, but yeah, maybe clarify too that the Ape isn't going anywhere, right?
Right. Yeah. So that's one of the big things. The Ape doesn't leave your wallet. You don't grant any permissions to any smart contracts or us. Basically, all you do right now to join the waitlist is connect your wallet, sign a message to prove that you actually own the wallet and the NFTs, and then you just add your NFTs. Right now, everything's off chain, so you don't have to worry about the safety and security of your NFTs are the most important thing, because you own it, and without it, then there's no point in licensing your IP.
Yeah, and I'll throw out there, like, people who are careful, you have every right, and you should be really careful. There's too many scams and crazy things. Pay attention to transactions. If you're just signing a transaction, that pretty much means you're safe. But learn to understand what MetaMask is doing when you just click on shit.
Yeah, look at what you're signing. So like signing a string message is generally safe. It could be like it could have data that would allow someone to maliciously attack your wallet, but generally if it's like a plain string text that you can read that says like, please sign this to verify your wallet, it's generally safe.
Cool. Spottie, Brad threw this out here. Brad Turney put, are you participating in the revenue from the songs that you did with Snoop?
Yeah, we are. You know, just like when you would write a song before NFTs, it's always best practice to, as soon as the song is written, to sit down together. Usually what actually happens is everybody's kind of like, not sober at the moment. So afterwards, you kind of send a text chain or an email chain around, and you kind of figure out what we call the song splits. So yeah, we have song splits that basically determine not only the revenue split for the NFTs, but also the publishing splits if the song was to gain traction on streaming services or be synced in a film or something like that. So we have those splits figured out. But for me, it's really like the money is great, but it's an awesome look for me. You know, I was put on an email today. Just today, somebody was sending an email introduction. They said, you know, Spottie's collaborated with Snoop Dogg and Bun B. And it's like, well, I'm not actually on a song with Snoop Dogg. I'm on a mixtape that he's publishing, but it's like, you know what? Sure, close enough. Like that works, you know.
Take it.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool. And is there an on-chain way of keeping track of any of the revenues or things like that for the mix? I mean, the mixtapes, I guess you could very easily watch on like the contract on Etherscan and things like that. But is there some way of doing that in a professional way yet?
You know, somebody was just telling me about a platform that's helping automate it. But right now we're doing it manually. And this is even how I'm doing it with my song that I have with Bun B is I send him a manual payment either at the end of the month or if we hit a certain secondary revenue marker. Because as far as I understand, as far as I know on OpenSea, I believe you can only assign one wallet per NFT or per collection to receive revenue. But I also know that like there are other ways to do it, like through the smart contract. It's just a little bit over my head. So
yeah,
for now,
probably unnecessarily cumbersome for like a 2-person team, right? You could square it away once a month or however you plan on it. But there probably are some like fancy ways of like having OpenSea send it to a contract that then automatically like splits it or something percentage wise.
Okay.
But it's overly complicated. But you know what it reminds me of? You know, think about this, like how far we've come, but also how beginning this is.
Yeah.
When I was doing my crowdfunding businesses and the platform that I built for back in the day, I launched it in like 2008, and then you know it went on until probably 2012 or so. Sometime in that mix, I went to the PayPal Developers Conference to learn what they were building. They launched something called adaptive payments. And it was the first time ever that you could like take a payment on the internet and be like, Jason gets 90%, Alon gets 10%. Until that point, you couldn't do that. Before that day, I had to actually have, as a business, we had to have lawyers create escrow accounts for us. So when somebody submitted to a crowdfunding campaign, it went into the escrow account. And then when the campaign was over, we had to manually send the money in 2 different places. It was like a huge pain in the ass. And literally this like 2-3 weeks after PayPal did that, then Stripe launched, and Stripe was brand new and they made it so you can split payments. So it's essentially, I would assume, a matter of time till OpenSea just makes that a feature of a collection, right? Like ownership splits. Like why shouldn't all the founders, or maybe 2 wallets, like a community wallet and then a different kind of wallet, you know, split the money automatically? You know, and then it would make life so much easier. We gotta lobby OpenSea for it. Let's get.
We got to lobby OpenSea for a lot. No, but really, I think, I mean, I know the demand is there. I see artists asking for this all the time. And really all marketplaces should be on top of this. I want to say, I know there's one marketplace that's more of a curated one. I want to say maybe it's Super Rare, where they make it easier to split payouts, but it is not the industry standard right now, which is kind of surprising. I guess one argument you could make is, you know, back when gas fees were higher, you know, if your payments are being auto distributed, then you might get caught at a time when gas is really high. So like now, if your auto payment is only going to one wallet, one transaction, then you're only risking paying one high gas fee, and then you can use your discretion, I guess, of when you're going to distribute from there. But even that should be should be a setting where I can say, like, you know, just hold my money until the gas is, you know, below a certain amount. So, you know, again, it's like we're in the infancy right now. You know,
we used to airdrop. We used to airdrop tokens or get airdrops all the time. Now it's become standard to redeem the tokens in a drop, right? Like you would go and just choose when you're going to take them for that reason, right? Like it's kind of insane for OpenSea to even be sending, you know, like 0.02 ETH, you know, distributions, right? They should just be letting it sit there and collect until you're ready to do it. But at least in those situations, they're paying that single gas fee, I think. But there needs to be a better way in some of these things. But I think you know, I think we're getting a little out of time. I want to give hold on, just David Rankin asked when other NFTs will be added to Midpoint. I think Mr. Suit, you were going to maybe put a poll to ask the community which ones, right?
Yeah, it's good question. Yeah, so it's limited by what collections give NFT owners full IP rights and commercial rights, but we're going to put out a poll, and so you can submit which collections you'd like to see added for support next, and then we'll go ahead and work on that and add them.
Awesome. So I'm going to, before I go and ask everyone to give some plugs and stuff, whoever's watching on the streams, I see there's still a ton of you on the streams. Come to meet.blockchainbooze.io, because when we're done in a minute, you'll be able to turn on your camera, hang out at tables if you want, and hang with the community. There's a lot of us out here. And have some fun. There's a lot of cool community members. I will say that in the last 2 years, I did have some like stats I was going to say because of 2 years, but we started talking about this stuff. I'll throw it out on Twitter, but like in 2 years, we made investments in companies who met each other in the tables, in the backstage kind of thing. Literally in the last 2 years, we've grown DGH like I think 3x in terms of size of team, and not a single person is in the same time zone as another person on the team, which is really fucking cool. And you know, I got to meet so many of you, so I appreciate it. So those of you who are watching on one of the streams, come to meet.blockchainbooze.io. Jason, why don't you go first? Give everyone some plugs, where to find you, where to follow you, and you know, I'm staring at that G Fuel logo. Give everyone
literally, guys, just follow Boring Stone NFT. That's a project that is near and dear to my heart since I run the socials, and it's a lot of fun. We have some silly, like our MO day one has been silly fun. And we have a lot of silly fun planned for you guys. So just follow us there and stay tuned. If you want to have silly disconnect time from the intense reality that you guys have, come hang out.
Love it. Love it. Spottie, where's the best place to follow you and support you?
Definitely Twitter right now at Spottie WiFi. I have my link tree in my bio where you can find links to my Discord and my collections on different marketplaces and things like that. And yeah, I mean, be on the lookout. I'm going to be at NFT LA. Well, I'm going to be in Los Angeles this Friday until the end of the month. I'm going to be everywhere, you know. I'm going to be performing probably a handful of times, 4, 5, 6 times throughout the week, speaking, and then I'm coming back to Miami for NFT Week Miami on April 1st. I'll be performing. So if you guys are in LA or Miami, check that out, and then just be on the lookout because I'm dropping new music very, very soon.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. Mr. Suit, what's the best place to follow you?
Yeah, I guess probably Twitter would be at Mr. MetaMask. And then you could also check out, if you're interested in the IP marketplace, would be midpoint.market.
Awesome. Guys, I really, really appreciate you being here. Thank you, Mr. Suit and Spottie, for joining for the first time. Thank you, Jason, for joining again and being my main man. Cheers. I'm just drinking the ice now.
Hey, Jason.
But thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys. Look forward to so many more of these fun things. And here's to 2 more years of blockchain and booze.
Hey, thank you guys for having me. Jason, if you're in LA, we got to hang, man.
Bro, I'll be at the NFT